Hello and welcome to another part in our tutorial. Today I will explain how to continue working with our sub pieces of the application. We stopped when we explained how to add a fragment to our activity. As you know or you remember, in the last part I added to the core section a fragment. And this fragment points to the one here. And because one is inside the other, now I have a complete distribution of the fact that there is a scoring activity with a sub-fragment which has two buttons. Okay, we can change here the IDs, we can change here the text. The idea is that we can say button 1, and that is the text. Button 2, so it doesn't matter. And what we now can do, just like we did in the activity, is add in the fragment on click button 1 and on click button 2, go to the fragment, go to the button, go to the on click, and associate the button 1. You will see that each time I put here the arrow down, it will only offer me the ones that the fragment has, the file that is associated, which is linked to the XML, this one and this one. It's not going to show me others. Now, I guess it didn't take it. Let's see what's happening. It didn't take it. Let's see, now it takes it. Let's see, is it up there? No, I don't know what's the problem here. On click button 2, on click button 1. If we go back to Fragments, well, it's never used, I guess. I don't know. Let's rebuild just to make sure that it detects. And here we don't have to have anything related to that. Great. So now, if I go to the first one, I can put here, for example, I don't know. Let's copy the snack bar from the activity, and let's put it here and here for button 1 and for button 2. If we execute this, what we should see that each time we press on one of these buttons, a snack bar should appear. It doesn't. What's the error? Let's try it again. Okay. Okay, so it is possible that we cannot assign directly well, one second. So regarding the on click for the buttons inside the fragment, it looks we have a small problem, and it is that we cannot we cannot really use, okay, we cannot use the fragment, we cannot use the same method we were using in the fragment. We cannot use on click if the button is inside the fragment. Okay, so we have to now be used to we have to learn how to use it differently, how to assign an action to a button in a different way. So what we will do is I'm going to show you how we do it in a second way. Okay, not the first one. First of all, I'm going to show you how we can interfere in the creation of the fragment. If we do something like this, view equals this here, okay, root, okay, points to here, to this point here, to frame layout. Why am I doing that? Because I want to extract the two buttons in questions. Okay, everything what we're seeing right now, it's in a more advanced manner to work with for development. Secondly, I will create button 1 of type button equals nothing for now. Okay, empty. The same with button 2. Okay, because I want two variables to reference the buttons. Next, I will execute the function findViewById, okay, and call the RID.button, which is, I think, if I don't remember well, I just go here and check it. The ID is button 3 and button 4. Yeah, we have to change it to var, sorry. Okay, great. Same thing with button 2, but it's 4 here. What we're doing is, instead of doing what we were, this is the same as doing this, okay, as calling the element from the code. The only difference is that what we're doing is storing the visual element in two different variables, here and here. Next, now that we have the buttons in our code and we can work with, we will set the on click of the buttons. But to set that, we have to do a different thing. We have to call set on click listener. Okay, the same with button 2. Okay, great. Now, this function that belongs to these objects, what they receive is a listener, an element that we have to tell him which is listening to the events. We want this class to be the listener. If we want this class to be the first fragment to be the listener, we have to add here the on click listener interface. When we do that, it will tell me, listen, you still have to implement a number of functions, specifically the onClick. Okay? And now, as you can see, I have the onClick function in my class. Following that, I can finally tell him that this, the class that I'm standing on, will be the one who will listen to the events of onClick. I will add the assertion exclamations, and finally from now on, each time a button is pressed, it will execute the onClick. This is a different way of doing it from the first way, and we're doing it because sadly in Fragments we cannot use the onClick XML function option. Next, how do I differentiate between button 1 and button 2? The only way to do it is to check which is the p0 variable that comes into the function. If p0.id equals button1.id, yeah, we have also always to put the assertion, then the button that executes this method is button 1. The same thing button 2. Okay, now I can put the snack, as you can see, when it's copied from here, this one here. And we can put button 1 and button 2. Okay, instead of V, we're gonna do this 0. And finally, if I execute this, what I will see is what I wanted, the action executed in each time. Okay, this method here is much cleaner, and it depends more on the programming section. We created the two buttons references, the variables. We linked it to the view side by finding the view using its ID. Okay, from the main view, from the root, which is, let's remember this. We're telling him to give me the visual element that has the ID button 3 and the ID button 4, and we store it in btn1 and btn2. Then we tell him that the function, that the element, the class that will listen to the clicks is btn1 and btn2. Okay, we have to give that ability to our class if we wanted to use this same class. From now on all the actions of the buttons will be executed in the onClick functions here. And that is how we add